sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram smaranam karunam kalavashadya sakalam karunam samayadipate akilam karunam. Good evening, everyone. I said good evening. Is the audio okay? I'm sorry. Is it okay? So, leadership. Leadership essentially means that either by natural selection or some kind of official selection or election, you get to a place where you're on a perch. Once you sit on a perch, people expect you to see things better than the rest of the people. If you sit on a perch and you don't see any better than others, you will become an object of ridicule. So leadership, or a position of leadership, is both a tremendous privilege and a responsibility. Usually people understand leadership as a position of power. But if you look at successful leaders, truly people who have made a difference, who are loved by the people who follow them, you will see it is not a position of power, it's a position of continuous sacrifice. Otherwise, you don't become a leader. There have been many kinds of leaderships. Maybe a couple of centuries ago or more, a few centuries ago, religious leadership was the most dominant leadership in the world. And then it slowly moved to military leadership, became the most dominant force. In the last 100 years, democratically elected leadership has become the most dominant thing. In the last 15, 20 years, and definitely in the coming decade or two, the business leadership or the economic leadership is going to be the most dominant force on the planet. So from the dogma or the dogmatic religious leadership to the tyranny of military leadership to the confoundedness of democratic leadership, economic leadership is coming into fore. But the problem is, the business leaders have the tag of being vested interests. So there's a huge responsibility for the business leaders to come out or to shake this tag off that a business is not necessarily of vested interest, it's of common well-being too. But this needs to come out of the business leaders. They need to think beyond their quarterly balance sheets and long-term well-being of their business and everybody else who comes in touch with their business. They need to show inclusivity because businesses are growing into the size of a nation, many of them, where millions of people are involved. When you're growing into that size, how can you operate without being inclusive? Why is it important to be inclusive? Or is it even a choice, first of all? See, once you're a leader, every thought that you generate, every emotion that comes out of you, every action that you perform has an impact on millions of people. When such a privilege has been vested in one human being, for whatever reason, that human being needs to do something about himself. If you realize that your work is important, the most important thing is that you work upon yourself. Working upon yourself means, what is inclusivity, what is exclusivity? Why is it that we have become exclusive? Exclusivity means to live within a boundary. Inclusivity means at least to perforate the boundary. If you can't break the boundary, at least it's perforated. Boundaries have become important because largely human beings are still identifying with only the physical nature of their existence. When I say physical, one needs to understand the basis of physicality is a boundary. If there is no defined boundary, no physical is possible. I can call this a physical body only because there is a defined boundary. If I took off all the boundaries of this body, this wouldn't be physical anymore. So the nature of physicality is boundary. When one's identity is all related to physical things, boundaries will be inevitable. Fixing proper boundaries and then talking about inclusivity is like people are telling you, you must love your enemy. First of all, why do you make him your enemy and then try to love him? It's a very hard thing to do, believe me. Somebody is your enemy only because you're incapable of loving him, isn't it? Now you make him your enemy and then try to love him. This is a hopeless job. Now you fix physical boundaries, identify yourself with those boundaries and then try to include. This is going to be very difficult. If one has become a leader, for whatever reasons, sometimes because of situations, sometimes because of his own capacity, sometimes because they're elected or selected or whatever way, sometimes certain events throw up leaders. For whatever reason, once this privilege comes to you that you can impact many lives by doing whatever you're doing, it's extremely important that your identities are not limited to physical structures in your life, starting with your body and with so many other things. Let me define this to you. This is the most corrupted word on the planet right now. This is called spirituality. The moment you utter the word spirituality, people are imagining all kinds of things. What spirituality essentially means is, your experience of life has transcended the limitations of the physical. Right now, your experience of life is limited to 5 sense organs of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching. This is the way you know there is a world, this is the way you know that you're here. If these 5 things don't function, the world and you will become oblivious of both. So, these 5 sense organs essentially perceive only that which is physical. You cannot see something that is not physical. You cannot hear something that is not physical, nor touch, nor taste, nor smell something that is not physical. The 5 sense organs are giving you access only to physical realities. Because of this, human beings get strongly identified with physicality. Then what other way to experience life? You need to understand that these 5 sense organs opened up. These 5 sense organs opened up the moment you came out of your mother's womb, because this is necessary for one's survival. These are instruments of survival. If survival is all you're seeking, these 5 sense organs are good enough. But once you come as a human being, somehow survival is not good enough. When survival is in question, it's a big thing. Once it's taken care of, it means nothing. isn't it? Isn't it so? When it's in question, it's a very big thing, but once it's taken care of, it really means nothing. If you had come here like any other creature on this planet, stomach full, life settled. But once you come as a human being, stomach empty, only one problem, food. Stomach full, 100 problems. What you consider as human comes into play only after your survival is taken care of. Till then, you are just another biological entity like any other creature. Only when survival is taken care of, the dimensions that you refer to as human come into play in one's life. Till then, you are not even human actually. You're just another creature. Only after certain things are settled, other aspects of being human become alive. So being a leader means a certain expansion of individual human being in his activity, in his perception, in his influence. In a way, every human being is trying to expand. Whatever they know best, in that they're trying to expand. A leader means he has found a certain level of expansion. Once he has found this level of expansion, that everything that he does influences that many people, he must clearly understand, already he is inclusive. If he is not, others have included him. That is why they're allowing him to influence them. So once this opportunity and privilege has come, without if a leader operates, if you do not see something or somebody as yours, you can never do justice to that, isn't it? Yes or no? Are we in talking terms? Do we have a problem? Are we in talking terms? Okay. If you do not see something as yours, you always have problem with that, isn't it? This is me, this is my family, this is my city, this is my country, this is my world. You need to have my, because the nature of your experience is such, all your experience happens only within you. You're incapable of experiencing anything around you in the sense, you don't like this, I know. Can you see me at least? Can you see me? Even if you're not hearing me, can you see me? Use your hands and show where I am. Ah, you got it wrong. You know I'm a mystic from South India? Now this light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted in the image in the retina. You know the whole story? Where do you see me right now? Within yourself. Where do you hear me right now? Within yourself. Where have you seen the whole world? Within yourself. The basis of human experience is within you. You have never experienced anything outside of yourself, please see this. Even right now, the person next to you, if they touch you, you think you're experiencing their hand. No, you're only experiencing the sensations which happen in your hand. Even without that person's touch, you can simulate this if you just imagine. Yes or no? So your whole experience of life is within you. When you look at these people, all these people are not sitting here. They're all sitting in the firmament of your mind. Already inclusiveness has happened. Only problem is, if your identity is limited to the boundaries of your body, you think these are all external things. They are not external things. The whole world has happened only within you, isn't it? Have you ever experienced anything outside of you? Everything has happened within you. So inclusivity or inclusiveness is not some kind of an idea or a concept. This is the way life is happening all the time. So if you are not in sync with life, you will not just be a bad leader, you will be bad everything. Because essentially, your ability to perform well in this world is a question of how much you're in tune with the life around you and within you. If this doesn't happen, you're always at loggerheads with everything. So today we see successful people are the most miserable people on the planet. If you go around, if the most successful and affluent societies, if you look at them, they're the people who laugh least, they're the people who have become very stressful, very anxious about everything. So, somewhere you're sending out a message that success is suffering, which is a very bad message to send. If you send out this message to the youth that success is suffering, this has happened seriously in some societies, particularly in the 60s. In United States of America, that generation after World War II worked so hard to become successful. In the process of becoming successful, they became dead serious and long-faced. So the youth thought, what is the point being successful and miserable? If I smoke pot on the street side, I am much more happier, at least we're enjoying it. You don't seem to be enjoying the life process. This message is going across and it's a dangerous message because any society, if they stop seeking success, that society is for sure down the drain society. It's going downhill. It is the aspiration of a human being, constantly wanting to be successful. Success is important, isn't it? It's the sweetest thing in human life. Success need not necessarily mean business, politics, this, that. Every simple thing that you do, whether it's small or big, do you want it successful or not? Yes? Whether you're doing business, big business, small business, or you just want to hit a golf ball, or you want to just roll a tissue and throw it into the bin, you want to be successful or not? It's important, isn't it? Is it not important? But just see, successful people are carrying long faces, stressful faces. They are saying success is stress, success is suffering. Your work is not stress. Whatever situations you are in, it's not stressful. Stress is happening to you because you do not know how to manage your mind. You do not know how to manage your emotions. You do not know how to manage your energies or your body or your chemistry. Because you do not know how to manage the human system, stress is happening, not because of the nature of your work. Everybody is saying their work is stressful. From the Prime Minister down to the chaprasi, everybody is suffering from stress. So it is definitely not the nature of the job. It is just that you have not paid enough attention to a phenomenal technology that's been offered to you in the form of human system. This is the gadget on the planet, isn't it so? Yes. People are deeply engrossed in the iPhone, but you're missing the eye. This is the gadget, the most sophisticated gadget upon the planet. But you have not paid enough attention. You don't know where the keyboard is and you're punching it like this, like that and hoping it works. It does not work like this. Unless you do the right things will not happen to you. So if you are in a position of leadership, whether you're influencing 10 million people or 10 people, it doesn't matter. If you're in a position of leadership, the first thing that you need to do is work upon this one, that this has reached a certain level of well-being. If this is not in a state of well-being, if you influence people, you will only bring what you are to everybody around you, isn't it? Knowingly or unknowingly. You may have good intentions. Good intentions have caused more harm upon this planet than bad intentions, believe me. Good intentions by people who do not know what they're doing have caused much more. I want you to know, people who are fighting wars, people who are killing each other, people who are setting up bombs here and there, they all believe they are doing a good thing. Not only a good thing, a great thing. Yes or no? They all believe they are doing a great thing, not just for humanity, for their gods also. So, it's a God-given thing, you cannot say it's a bad thing. It's a very good thing. Only thing is, if you are at the receiving end, it's not a good thing for you, that's all. So good intentions are not good enough. It needs a certain level of inclusion. Inclusion means just this. See, there's an incredible sense of inclusion happening to you every day. What did you have for lunch? What did you have for lunch? Lunch. Say something more interesting. Just roti and rice. What did you have for lunch? Huh? Okay, cauliflower. Better than a cabbage. You… Okay. I thought that's a post-lunch. Okay, he eats a cauliflower. You eat a cauliflower, within a few hours, this cauliflower is transforming itself into human body, isn't it? Yes or no? Is it happening or no? You eat a roti and it's becoming human body. So this roti was a few days ago just soil. The soil became wheat and wheat became roti and roti became you, just over the afternoon. You are capable of including anything, isn't it? Yes? Cauliflower, you make it yourself. She makes an ice cream which melts away into herself. You're capable of phenomenal inclusion, but now it is happening only by ingestion. If you're willing, it can simply happen. It's not that it's not happened at all in your life, but largely only that which is connected with your body. You include only that which touches your body as a spouse, as a child, as a parent, as a brother, as a sister. Only what is connected with your body you are able to include. This is a very gross way to exist. This is a very limited way to exist, because if it has to touch your body, how many things can touch your body? It is always limited, isn't it? It is always limited. Your inclusion is… if your mind is open, you can just include everybody you want and anything you want, isn't it? Something that is not yours can become yours if you're willing, isn't it so? Yes or no? It only takes willingness, it doesn't take any capacity, it doesn't take any capability, it only takes willingness. See, right now the problem is just this exclusivity has made a human being so small and so conceited and so completely disoriented from the process of life. For example, you know the solar system? I'm showing like this because it's such a small thing. In this vast cosmos, this is a tiny little solar system. If it disappears tomorrow morning, nobody will miss it, believe me. It's not even in the accounts. In this tiny little solar system, this planet is a microspeck in the cosmos. In this microspeck, Kolkata is a super microspeck. In that, you are a big man. This is a serious problem. This is a very serious problem of perception, that you don't have a perception of who you are in the existence. In this cosmos, you're like a speck of dust. Tomorrow morning if you and me disappear, nothing is going to happen, everything is going to be just fine. Yes or no? Huh? Somebody? No, okay. It is just that somebody around you will cry for 3 days and forget about you, I know that. Yes, some things will go this way, that way. I am saying even if the whole planet disappears, in the cosmic space it means nothing. So in this existence, who we are, you have to get the right perspective, then inclusion becomes a natural process. How will this be? This seems to be the reverse, I am a small speck, how can I include? If you realize you're such a small speck, you will naturally want to include. Right now you have a very enlarged sense of yourself. Because of that you cannot include. Inclusion is not an idea, inclusion is not some kind of a concept. This is how life is happening. Right now, as you sit here and breathe, what you exhale, the trees are inhaling. What they exhale, you're inhaling. There is a constant relationship going on. Inclusion is always on, isn't it so? If you go further, every cell in this body, every atom in this body is in constant communication with the whole cosmos. Only thing that is not willing is your mind. Only in your mind. Psychologically you have set up walls. In terms of life, Everything is anyway inclusive, isn't it? So leadership is not an idea again. In every place, there is somebody leading something, isn't it? Whether it's home or school or office or country or world, inevitably somebody is leading something. It is not a position of power, it is a position which demands inclusion. If there is no inclusion, there is no leadership actually. Only question is, are you inclusive willingly or unwillingly? If you include willingly, life will become like a love affair. If you will include unwillingly, it feels like a rape. That's all the difference is. You have no choice about including and not including. Anyway, life is an inclusive process, it's not an exclusive process. To be alive, you have to include, isn't it? If you do it willingly, it will become a wonderful process. If you do it unwillingly, it becomes an ugly process. This is all the choice that human beings have. So when we say leadership, how you do things, what you do becomes very important. If we want to take care of how we do, see, you cannot suddenly blow up your brain into a bigger size and become more intelligent. You cannot suddenly enlarge your capacity. But there is one thing you can do, you can bring balance to yourself. You may be very intelligent, very competent, but if you do not have the necessary balance, all this will go waste. Your competence, your intelligence, your capabilities, everything will go waste if there is no balance. You cannot enhance your intelligence or competence or capability just like that. There are a whole lot of processes for that. But you can bring balance to yourself right now if you're willing. If you just bring balance to yourself, suddenly you may find that you're 10 times more than what you are right now simply because you're balanced, simply because your intelligence and your energies don't go waste in volatile activity within yourself. What being in balance means is that you are not an issue. When you are not an issue, you can deal with any issue that comes your way. When you yourself are a big issue, how to deal with the outside issues? To be peaceful, to be joyful has become a very big thing. Even the so-called spiritual leaders are going about saying, peace is the ultimate goal of life. I want to ask you a simple question. Tonight, if you want to enjoy your dinner, can you enjoy it if you are not peaceful and happy? Can you? So is it the ultimate goal of life or is it the most basic requirement of your life? It is the most basic requirement of your life. But now they're raising it to heaven, you will be peaceful only in heaven, or it is the final goal of your life. Such people will only rest in peace. I happened to be in Tel Aviv. I was to land there around, mid-afternoon and speak in the evening, but there were some delays in the flight. I was flying from United States and I got late and I landed there at 6 in the evening. So from the airport I went straight to the place where I'm supposed to speak. This is the 30th anniversary for us. In these 30 years, I have never been late to a single appointment. So I didn't want to break it, so I went there straight from the airport. And this is a restaurant, I'm supposed to speak in a restaurant. Restaurants are famous for many things. Some restaurants are famous for food that they serve, some are famous for the ambience that they have, some are famous for the conversations that happen in these restaurants. So this is a restaurant where it is famous for the conversations that happen. The most intelligent conversations in Tel Aviv are supposed to happen in this restaurant, not in the parliament. So I walked in and people were already gathering and one person came and greeted me, "Shalom." I said, "What does it mean? What does the word shalom mean?" He said, "This is the highest way of greeting." I said, "That's okay, that's your opinion, but what does the word mean?" He said, No, this is really the highest way of greeting." I said, "That's okay. What does it mean?" He said, "This means peace." I said, "Why is peace the highest way of greeting unless you're born in Middle East?" In South India, early morning if somebody comes to me and says, "Peace," I'll say, "What's wrong with you?" So, whatever you're deprived of becomes the highest thing in your life. If you've not eaten for 5 days, if I say God, you'll say food. Yes or no? If you are sick, if I say God, you'll say health. So, if you're deprived of peace, you talk about that. If you're deprived of love, you talk about that. No, the important thing is this, that if all these things are taken care of, you're peaceful, you're joyful, you're well-fed, everything, then what? Still you want something more, isn't it so? Yes or no? Your stomach is full, you're peaceful, you're joyful, everything that you want is generally there. Are you going to just be there or do you want something more? You want something more to happen. If that something more happens, what? You want something more. If that happens, what? Something more. So essentially, you're wanting to expand, isn't it? Either you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. If you try to expand, if you try to include something physically, we call it sexuality. If you try to do it mentally, then we say it gets labeled as conquest, greed and so many things, it gets labeled that way. If you try to do it emotionally, we call it love, compassion. If you do it energy-wise, we call it yoga. Yoga means union. What was two separate things in your experience has become one. The individual and the universal has become one. This is inclusion. Most efficient manner of inclusion. If you try to include physically, it seems like it's happening, but it doesn't work, you know that. You try to do it mentally, always it's slipping away. You try to do it emotionally, many times two people thought they're one, but tomorrow morning, something else is happening. So, the most efficient way to include is that you break the boundaries of your energy system and you can include everything as a part of yourself. Is this a possibility or is this some high-flying talk? See, let's look at it this way. Shall we do a little experiment with you? Are you okay? You place your two hands together like this, sit with your spine reasonably erect. What we do is, you rub these two hands briskly and then close your eyes. I will tell you when to do that. Just do this. Brisk. Now close your eyes and hold these hands about 6 inches away from each other. You notice something happening between these two hands? Please open your eyes. Do you notice something? Huh? That's because the air is cool. Now, do you notice some kind of activity happening between the two? There is some kind of transaction between the two. Huh? When you love somebody very much, you want to hold their hand, isn't it? You will see, holding hands brings people much, much closer than any other kind of contact. Have you noticed this? Just holding a hand. Because there is a sensory body to you. That is, the outermost layer of who you are is your sensation, isn't it? Yes? You understand what I'm saying? See, it is the sensation which tells you what is your boundary. See, what you take your right hand and touch your left hand. You? Please tell me. Touch the chair on which you're sitting. Is that you? Somebody's saying yes. Is that you? No. How do you know this? How do you know this is not you and this is you? Because here there are sensations, here no sensation. Or in other words, what you're saying is, whatever is within the boundaries of my sensation is me. Whatever is outside the boundaries of my sensation is not me. When the cauliflower was sitting in your plate, that was not you. Now it is sitting within the boundaries of your sensation, now it's you, isn't it? These 50, 60, 70 kgs that you gathered, it was not you. Now you included this into the boundaries of your sensation, it feels very much like you, isn't it? So whatever you include into the boundaries of your sensation, you will experience it as myself. Now, the boundaries of your sensation can be enlarged and expanded. You have heard, if you have… at any time you felt so joyful, so very joyful, that tears came to you. Did it happen or no? So if such a thing happened, at that time, you will see whenever such things happen, you tend to hold your hands like this. Have you noticed this? If you just hold your hands 6 to 8 inches away from you, you will see right here you will notice sensations, because whenever you feel exuberant within you, your sensory body expands. If you had no such beautiful experiences in your life, I will have to do something horrible to you. Let us say we will chop off your right leg. We don't, I'm just telling, just because it's Bengal. Suppose we chop off your right leg, your leg will be gone, but still sometimes sensory leg can be still intact. Yes, you know this? Medically there's something called as a phantom leg. Even if your physical leg is gone, the sensory leg is still intact, you're experiencing the leg as it was, even though it is not there. So sensory body has a presence of its own beyond the physical body, and if you make your life energies very exuberant, it expands. If it becomes depressed, it will contract. So, if one makes his life energies very exuberant, if you stand here, if your sensory body is as large as this hall, you will experience everyone as a part of yourself. Once you experience like this, then I don't have to teach you any morality. Don't harm this person, don't kill this person, don't rob this person. All these things will be meaningless to you, because nobody ever told you, don't chop off your little finger. Because anything that you experience as myself, with that you have no issue, isn't it? So if you are in a position of leadership where every thought, every emotion, every act that you perform is influencing and impacting people's lives, it is your business. It is your business to do some inner work. If you don't do that, there is a certain irresponsibility about the leader, that he's not taking care of how this one is when this one has such a big influence on everybody around him. So inclusivity or inclusiveness is not a choice, is not an option. That is the only way to be a leader. That is the only way to exist. Life can happen only by inclusiveness. There is no other way. And if you do not do it the way… see, there are many ways you can somehow get yourself into a place of well-being, you can somehow get into a place of leadership, you can somehow be successful. It is just that it won't be sustainable. On a certain day, a bull and a pheasant were grazing upon the field. The bull was grazing upon the grass, the pheasant picking ticks off the bull, partnership. There was a huge tree at the edge of the field. The pheasant very nostalgically looked at the tree and said, "Oh alas, there was a time I could fly to the topmost branch of the tree. Now I do not have enough strength in my wing even to get to the first branch of the tree." The bull very nonchalantly said, "Oh, that's no issue, eat a little bit of my dung, within a fortnight you will reach the topmost branch of the tree." The pheasant said, "Come on, what kind of nonsense is that?" The bull said, "Really, try and see, the whole humanity is on it." Very hesitantly, the pheasant started pecking at the dung, and lo, on the very first day it reached the first branch of the tree, within a fortnight it reached the topmost branch of the tree. Sitting on top of the tree, just beginning to enjoy the scenery, the old farmer who was rocking on his rocking chair saw this fat old pheasant sitting on top of the tree, pulled out his shotgun and shot the bird off the tree. The moral of the story is, many times even bullshit can get you to the top, but it never lets you stay there. So, if you want your leadership, to be a sustainable leadership, it has to happen out of inclusiveness, there is no other way. If there is no sense of inclusiveness in you, if people do not include you, your leadership is not sustainable, nor is it going to be productive. If you have questions, any kind of question, please. Yes, please. Smell is very physical. Even air is physical, isn't it? Is air physical or no? Is oxygen and hydrogen and nitrogen physical or no? Yes, it is. No smell can happen without some kind of chemical action. There is some chemistry floating here. But it is physical in nature, otherwise you couldn't smell it. You thought it's the non-physical nature of human beings which is smelling? No, it's only the physical which smells.
My question was specifically that smell has no physical boundaries. See, when you mentioned the five senses, at that point of time it was in the context of physical boundaries.
Yes.
That's what that's the context in which
Okay.
whether it has a… So fine, I'm done.
No. When I said physical boundary, I'm saying your experience is limited to physical. Your experience is limited to just the physical process. The physical is like the peel of the fruit. It has no purpose of its own. See, if you eat a fruit, the peel goes straight to the trash can. The peel is meaningful only because it encases the fruit. By itself it means nothing. Now this body, it's like the peel. After some time, this one and that one, the moment the fruit is gone, something that you never experienced, if that is gone, nobody wants to touch it. Right now, it's very valuable. We have to feed it, we have to clothe it, we have to decorate it, we have to pamper it in so many ways. But tomorrow morning if the fruit is gone, nobody wants to deal with it. Because it's the fruit which makes this important. But now, if your whole experience of life is limited to five sense organs, your whole experience of life is limited to the physical, that means it's like eating the peel of the fruit. Is peel wrong? No. But peel is purposeful only as a protective layer to the fruit. If you're only involved with the peel, that is a wasted life, isn't it? I'm sorry?
I said technically the peel has written in that in Bengal, Guruji, there is an amazing amount of cuisine based only on peel. The poor eat tortilla of peel.
I got that. I know that. But those vitamins, you're supposed to leave it for the cows and the goats. Where will they get their nourishment? I'm not saying you should not eat the peel at all, but peel has no purpose of its own, right? Right now, isn't our body useful? Very useful. Isn't it nice? It's very nice. But by itself it means nothing, isn't it? Only because the life within is going on, it's nice. If that's gone, this is not nice, isn't it?
What about the sixth sense?
What is that? I know everybody's talking about it, but what is that sixth? For most people, even the five are not working properly. See, there's a whole lot of things going on like this in the society. Just about anywhere, people will say, what about my soul? Where is your soul? Except for these two, what other soul have you seen? Why I'm saying this is, the moment you start talking about something which is not yet in your experience, you will start hallucinating. So it's very important. So, or to put it very bluntly, if you speak about something which is not a reality for you, it amounts to lying, isn't it? Everybody is talking about the soul, everybody is talking about other senses. No, This is all because they read the jargon here and there. It happened. Shall I tell you another bull story? It's okay with you? One day a bull was grazing. Chomp, 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 chomp. It went deep into the forest. Chomp, 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 chomp. Few weeks, became nice and fat. There was an old lion who was aging and having problems hunting the creatures of the forest. When he saw this nice fat bull, his mouth watered, he stalked around, found the right moment, pounced on him, killed him and ate him up. Stomach became full. With great satisfaction, he roared. A few hunters were passing that way. They heard the roar, tracked down the lion and shot him dead. The moral of the story is, when you're so full of bull, you should not open your mouth. We've gathered too much stuff which is not it real in our lives. Why? Because Krishna said it, Buddha said that, this man said this man said… It might have been true in their lives, not yet true for you. With all due respect to all of them, you should not speak their words, isn't it? Yes or no? Maybe, let us see when it becomes true for us. But till then we should not utter those words, isn't it? Maybe it was true for him. We should explore and see whether it's true for us. If we just assume this, we will become hallucinatory. 90% of the religious process on the planet has become hallucinatory simply because of this. Everybody is assuming things that are not yet a reality in their life.
You said the desire to achieve or gain something, it is like, we try to achieve one by one, right? When it's going to end?
Why are you doing it one by one?
Well, because you said that
Very
you achieve
inefficient
something,
way of doing things.
you achieve something and then you again desire for something else, again achieve that and desire for something else. So when exactly it is going to end?
See, you're trying to expand. When you have nothing, you will think, if I get 2 meals a day, that's all I want. If you get that, you will think, if you have a house, that's all that you want. It'll go on like that. You're going in installments. Why all this? I will make you the king or queen of this planet. Don't look at me hopefully. You think I am capable of making such a blunder? Let's say we make you the king of this planet. Are you fulfilled? Are you fulfilled? No, you look at the stars. So what is it that you're longing for? You're not longing for money, you're not longing for property, you're not longing for power, you're not longing for knowledge or love or pleasure. What you want is expansion. Whatever is your currency, in that you're trying, but basically you want expansion. How much expansion will settle you for good? How much?
That is the question actually.
Huh?
That is my question, how much?
Now I'm asking you right now, look at it and tell me, how much expansion, if I give you the solar system, will you settle?
Till
All the 11 planets.
Till I may have a desire to gain more solar
So,
systems.
how much expansion do you think will settle you?
Infinite.
Yes, you're looking for the infinite, but you want the infinite and you want to get it in installments. It's not going to work like that. Can you ever count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and one day say infinite? You will only become endless counting, isn't it? Your desire is fantastic, you're seeking the infinite, what more? Fantastic desire. But the method is hopeless. I'm sorry? Yes, if you expand it, then you need not expand. I got that.
If I'm inclusive, if I feel one with cosmos, that I'm in togetherness, then there's nothing to expand. I'm with the cosmos, I'm a part of the cosmos. The cosmos is not without me.
So, if I include, now including or inclusion is not an idea or a concept in your mind. I'm sorry? Fine. So right now, there is a longing in every human being to be something more. Essentially, if you look at this is not about more, this is about all. See, if I imprison you in a 5x5 cubicle, you will feel horribly imprisoned. Tomorrow we'll announce your liberation and liberate you into a 10x10 cubicle. You'll feel wonderful for a day and again feel horribly imprisoned. Then we'll liberate you into a 100x100 cubicle. Again the same thing. It doesn't matter how big a boundary I set for you. The moment you can feel the boundary, you want to break it, isn't it? So there is something within you which does not like boundaries. There is something within you constantly longing to be boundless. Only thing is, you are going towards infinite in installments. That is the whole problem. This is like, what do you drive? What do you drive? I know what. You're driving a Honda and in the evening you saw the moon. You felt like going there. Somebody told you, really gas it up. You will go to the moon. Believe me, you will not go to the moon. If you try too hard, you may go beyond the moon, but you will not go to the moon. Because if you want to go to the moon, Honda is not a good vehicle to go. You need another kind of vehicle to go to the moon. You don't attempt going to the moon in a Honda. Similarly, right now you want to go to the infinite, but you're attempting it through physical means. Physicality means boundary. It's only because of a defined boundary, physicality exists. Now you're looking for infinite, which means boundless. That means you're talking about something which is not physical in nature, isn't it? So when you touch that dimension which is not physical in nature, then we say you are spiritual. Spiritual does not mean looking up or looking down, because you do not even know what's up and down, believe me. You know the planet is round or earth, round or flat, what do you think? Is it round or flat? No, I'm talking about the Bengal reality, please tell me. Is it round or flat? It is round. And you are not sitting in the North Pole. You are sitting somewhere, what, 23 degrees latitude, 24 degrees latitude, somewhere there? You are sitting here. And the planet is spinning also. Now if you look up, invariably you're looking up in the wrong direction, isn't it? Yes or no? Every time you did the Operwala thing, you in the wrong direction, wrong number, you know. In this cosmic space, does somebody know which is up and which is down? Is it somewhere marked this side, this way up? Is it marked somewhere? You do not know what is up and down. You do not know what is forward and backward. You're incapable of knowing. There is only one context to your life, inward and outward. If you do not exercise this context, then you have no context, just hallucinations. Only psychological context, which keeps changing. That's why it's so different from person to person, because everybody is in their own psychological context. There is no context with reality. In reality, there's only one context for you, outward and inward. If you do not exercise this, you have no context. You simply are imagining all kinds of things. And a leader who imagines too many things, who is not in touch with reality, is a dangerous leader. Most leaders, I wouldn't say most, a few leaders in the world right through history have done phenomenal things. But many leaders have caused the most disastrous things that can happen to humanity, isn't it? Yes or no? Because of psychological context, what is right, what is wrong, what is mine, what is yours, these are all psychological contexts, and you can make it up whenever you want. A leader cannot afford to be hallucinatory. Please.
Swami, you have very beautifully delineated the subtle shift in leadership
clear.
things
If you
from
can hold, no, it's not clear.
Religious to democratic to military to democratic, and now economic oblique business leadership.
No, it's not clear to me. You must hold the microphone like this, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I now audible?
Yes.
What I'm saying is you have very beautifully delineated the subtle shift in leadership things from religious to military to democratic and presently economic oblique business, probably present and the future. Now, a lot of people feel that economic leadership is going to be the most dangerous. We find that in India, 70% of the people live below 20 rupees per day, and the number of billionaires is on the other hand increasing. There is something called the Gini's Inequality Index, and it basically indicates the disparities or the inequalities in the society. Even in USA, in India, in most so-called prosperous countries also, the disparities are increasing, the inequalities are increasing, and basically it is attributable to the business leadership. We are having the FDI debates going on in the...
No, we know the reality. What's the question?
Yeah, now my question is, you have said that leadership which is not inclusive is not sustainable. Whereas what we are finding, that leadership today, which is more and more exclusive, is actually not sustainable. It is flourishing in a very big way, given the increase in the number of billionaires. That is one thing. Second thing is, I basically question the sustainability of inclusivity. Whether inclusivity beyond a point is really sustainable. I, as an officer in Calcutta, have been posted to keep the illegal immigrants from Bangladesh out. We have a concept of Vasudev Kutumbam, which means the whole world is one family. But if we keep allowing the Bangladeshi immigrants to come here, it may be a type of inclusivity, but it's not sustainable. So beyond a point, I feel inclusivity is not sustainable.
We need a law that the police officers should not read scriptures.
No, but my questions are, today we find that leadership without inclusivity is very much sustainable, it is flourishing. Second thing is, beyond a point, inclusivity is certainly not sustainable also for a nation or a society. Your comments.
We're talking about economic leadership and about how somebody is becoming a billionaire and somebody else is remaining poor. It's very true. That's exactly what I said. Right now, the economic leadership has a tag around their neck that they are vested interests, because they are only thinking from quarterly balance sheet to quarterly balance sheet. They need to move from personal ambition to a larger vision, because many businesses are becoming the size of a nation. So when such a possibility is there, it's very important that they move beyond their balance sheets into a larger vision. Why I'm saying economic leadership is important is, whether you like it or not, that is the way the world is shifting. But one thing important about economic leadership is a business leader. See, two religious leaders can never agree upon anything, because if they agree, their religion will collapse. Sure, no? If they agree to somebody else's point of view, their whole thing will collapse, because it's a difference on which they're making their whole thing going. Two military leaders cannot agree because you need the other to fight and you need an opponent, otherwise you will be of no consequence. If there is no fight, fighting people will be of no consequence, isn't it? Fight needs to be there. So they need division. Democratic leadership or political leadership does not have any stance. They just want to… staying there itself is a big circus. All the time staying there is a circus, and they're not thinking of inclusivity, exclusivity, nothing. Somehow staying there is everything, because that's the nature of democracy. But the nature of a business leader is such, if the deal is good, he is willing to make a deal with the devil also. He has no prejudice. You say there's good business in Pakistan, he'll go and do business in Pakistan. You say there's good business in hell, he will go and do good business in hell. All he wants is a good deal. Now, it is the responsibility of the policymakers to make the business laws in such a way that naturally everybody benefits from the business that happens. If the policymakers do not have the necessary vision or understanding of the nature of the business, they are not able to set the right kind of policies so that the economic activity will benefit everyone. Now, we have tried other ways. I don't wish to comment because this state has been on it. Nations have tried. We have tried to take up everybody equitably up, and everybody has collapsed. It's not worked. The nature of human societies are such that individual capability always rises first. One individual rises first. If the policy is made in such a way that his rising benefits everybody, then it'll happen. He's supposed to pay taxes. 30% of his income he is supposed to pay, and that's his contribution. He need not do any charity. If he just pays his tax, he's done his job, isn't it? And economic activity naturally breeds well-being and wealth to everybody. Nobody can make wealth and keep it to himself. When he does economic activity, everybody benefits. And that is the only sustainable thing. And that's proven beyond any doubt on the planet. Every other form of governance that we have tried to create has failed, isn't it? Has definitely failed. So, in terms of sustainability, the word business, what it means is, if we sit together and do some transaction, both of us benefit. Only if both the parties benefit, any transaction is going to be sustainable, isn't it? Whether it's marketplace or marriage, only if it's beneficial to both the people, it will last. If it's only beneficial to one person, it's not going to last, isn't it so? So business has sustained for thousands of years because it's always beneficial to both the parties. If you run business in such a way that it's only beneficial to you, that business will anyway die.
Hello. You just told that to remain inclusive, to become a better leader, you have to remain balanced. But within the confines of our bodies itself, we are finding almost world wars going on between my mind and my body. They are at loggerheads. If they are not at terms with each other, how can I be inclusive? How can I expand? This is the great difficulty we find every day, every moment, how to resolve that. Now just after resolving this only, then we can do something. What's the way out?
Mind is in such a state of confusion that within itself it seems to be battling. So many ideas, so many thoughts, so many emotions. But mind is not fighting with the body. If mind fights with the body, you would be dead. You understand? You wouldn't live. If this mind fights with this body, it will be dead, it'll destroy it completely. It cannot live. So within the mind, conflicting thoughts, conflicting emotions are happening. I want you to understand this. We were talking about the cauliflower. Yes? Right now, as I'm speaking, suddenly I take this cup in my hand and say, this cup is my cup. What will you think? Oh, Sadhguru's got some problem. But people say he's wise, so let's listen some more. After some time I say, this is me. Then you'll say, let's go. This is getting dangerous. So if I claim something that's not me as myself, does it amount to insanity? There are doctors here, please tell me. If I think I'm this microphone, does it amount to insanity? Yes, he's a doctor. It's a medical description. This you're doing every day. Cauliflower appeared in your plate. This is my cauliflower. You eat it. This is me. This is insanity. What you call as your body is a heap of food that you gathered. What you call as your mind is a heap of information and impressions that you gathered. What you gather can be yours, can never ever be you, isn't it? Yes or no? So right now, what's happening in your mind is just a certain accumulation of data functioning in a certain way. So if you have accumulated all kinds of data, all of it is popping up here and there. But it is your thought, it is not you. If only you had a little space between you and your thought process, you would know how to use this. Your mind is like a shopping mall. You go into your shopping mall, you pick what you want. You don't buy the mall and come home, do you? Your mind is like a shopping mall because you have no choice about what you take into your mind. Whatever your five sense organs are exposed to, everything it takes in, good, bad, ugly, everything, you have no choice. If you say, I don't like this man, I don't want to take anything from him. There is no such choice. If you say, I don't like this man, I don't want to take anything, you will take much more from him than anybody else. So you have no choice as to what you take in, but you have a choice as to what you use and what you don't use. Everything… your mind is just your society's garbage bin. Just everything gets in. It is your ability to use what you want and leave what you don't want, which makes you balanced. So if this has to happen, there has to be a little space between you and your mind. That is, right now, you're too heavily identified with your thoughts. You are not seeing… thought is just an outcome of the data that you have gathered. You're seeing that your thought as myself. Like you're seeing your body as myself. This is just a piece of the planet, isn't it? Is this a piece of planet or no? All the countless number of people who walked this planet before you and me, where are they? They're all topsoil. This also will become topsoil unless your friends choose to bury you real deep, fearing that you may rise from the dead. You better get this now. You better understand that your body is just a piece of this planet that you picked up. If you get it from me, it'll be good. Otherwise, one day you'll get it from the maggots. If you get it from me, you can live a fruitful life. Maggots will be too late. This is just what you have gathered. What you have gathered, you've gotten so identified with it, it behaves as if it's you. If you keep a little distance from your mind or your thought process, you've heard of a word called Buddha? If I say Buddha, you always think Gautama the Buddha. No, I'm not talking about him. He's not the only Buddha, that's not his second name. He is Gautama Siddhartha. He became a Buddha. How does one become a Buddha? Bhu means buddhi or the intellect. Dha means dada, one who is above. If you are above your intellect or buddhi, you are a Buddha. If you are trapped in your intellect, you are a non-stop suffering human being. Because once you are trapped into your intellect, your anxieties and your fears and your struggles are never gone, always there. It doesn't matter who you are. If I make you the king of this planet, you will still struggle. If you are below the intellect, you will not know so much suffering. If you are above the intellect, you are a Buddha. In the intellect, entangled in intellect is suffering. Below the intellect means we can call you Buddhu. If you're below the intellect, you don't suffer so much. If you're above the intellect, there's no such thing as suffering. Only when you have this assurance, only when you have the freedom from suffering, will you walk full stride in your life. The fear of suffering always makes you walk half strides, half steps. Always, what will happen to me, what will happen to me, is the biggest question, isn't it? Every step that you want to take is a half a step because the fear of suffering is always ruling you. Only if you have an assurance, whatever happens, this is how I will be. If this assurance is there within you, then you would walk full stride in your life. And if you want to be a leader, people expect that you walk full stride. Life becomes constipated because of fear of suffering. Please.
Yeah. Sadhguru, it is so simple to be happy, yet it is so difficult to be simple. Why so?
It's neither simple nor complex. It is just that we're looking in the wrong direction, that's all. The reason why to be peaceful and happy seems to be so difficult for people is… Can I tell you a story? On a certain day, a man was walking home. It was just 7 o'clock. He has got rules at home, his wife's rules are 7:30 he must be home. He thought, there's still time. He thought, let me have a quick drink and go. So he went into the local bar. He had a quick drink. and a quick drink, and a quick drink, and a quick drink, and a quick drink. Then he looked at his watch, it said 2 a.m. You know, when you get drunk, you become like a yogi, timeless. It was 7 o'clock, suddenly it's 2 a.m. Oh, it's late, I have to get back home. And suddenly this damn planet is round and it spins. Only under the influence of alcohol, the reality comes home. The rest of the time, it feels quite flat. So stumbling around on this round planet, it's so difficult to walk on this round planet, and it's spinning. Somehow finding his way, he was trying to find a shortcut through a garden and go. He fell headlong into a rose bush. His face became a mess. Then he went somehow, found his home, and it took another 20 minutes to find the keyhole. He found that also and slowly crawled up into the bedroom, went into the bathroom and looked at himself. His face was a real mess. So he opened the medicine cabinet, fixed himself with band-aid and plaster and medicine, everything, then crawled into the bed and slept off. Morning 8 o'clock, the wife took a bucket full of cold water and threw it on him. He got up, why, it's only Sunday. She said, you fool, once again drinking? He said, no honey, I promised you 6 months ago I told you, since then I haven't touched a drop. She grabbed him by the shirt, took him into the bathroom and showed him. All the plaster was on the mirror. So this is the problem right now. The problem is, you're unhappy, you think that one should be fixed. You're angry, you think this one has to be fixed. No. If you're feeling unpleasant for any reason, either stress or anger or this or that or whatever, any kind of unpleasantness is happening within you, who should be fixed? This one? If you get this much, if you just get this much, you will learn to fix yourself. There are methods and ways to fix yourself. As there is a science and technology to fix the outside situations, there is a whole technology to fix the inner situation. It is just that first you have to understand that my experience of life, whether pleasantness or unpleasantness, is generated from within me, not from outside of me. Outsides only provide ambience and situations. It is you who produces pleasantness and unpleasantness, isn't it? If pleasantness and unpleasantness is happening from within you, if you had a choice, if your mind took instructions from you, if just your mind took instructions from you, would you keep yourself joyful or miserable? What's your choice? For yourself, joyful. What you want for your neighbor may be debatable, but what you want for yourself is very clear, isn't it? So why is it not happening? Because you're trying to fix something else. The whole experience of human life is happening from within. If you just fix this one thing, being peaceful and joyful will anyway happen to you. Success in the world, there are too many ingredients involved. This needs other kinds of capabilities. This needs grace. If there is no grace, there will be no success. You may be phenomenally competent, still you will not be successful if there is no receptivity to grace. But to be peaceful and joyful is completely your making, isn't it? Outside situations, 100 different forces are involved. Here, there's only one ingredient, just you. If you are willing, being peaceful and joyful and blissful will anyway happen to you. Thank you very much.